Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, it appears as if it's blue skies with wonderful white clouds this afternoon, and this is Safari Live. Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Safari Live for our Sunset Safari. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is of course Craig, or Batman. We also have Tayla in the tent this afternoon with Innocentia, our new camera woman. So Innocentia's filling in and helping us out in the tent this afternoon again, which has been fun. And then of course the ladies in the final control. And then a big warm welcome to all of you. It's always nice to have all of you on Safari Live with us. Don't forget, we are completely live. So send us your questions and your comments. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do that, and we'll gladly answer them. Now, I'm approaching this dam, and this is where Tayla managed to find young Hosana, a young male leopard, this morning. So I'm going to see, hopefully, he's still around. Now, there were apparently tracks of a female in this area too, so I wonder if there isn't another leopard around here. It's actually been a cool afternoon, so I wouldn't be surprised if this leopard did decide to move. So we'll have to have a good little look around here. Alright, I think let me have a good look. I might just walk around and see if I can't find any tracks. Let's head to Tayla so she can say good afternoon to you.
Hello everybody, and welcome again, as Byron said, to Safari Live, and live and interactive Safari. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is Innocentia. And well, hopefully we're going to find all sorts of things, and perhaps we'll have a look at some clips a little bit later too. Now, as you know, the tent can be quite difficult at this time of the year because there isn't really much in terms of insects and things out here. It's particularly quiet. Now, I have got something, however, to show you on the microscope. So if you'd like to go to the microscope, you're welcome to, and then we can investigate and see what I've got. This is a piece of grass that I managed to find outside. I'm just trying to move it around because there's all sorts of things in here. Just bear with me. I'm going to pull it out very quickly and try and turn it around. It's very windy all of a sudden. At one point I thought the monitors were going to blow off the table and out into the bush. There we go. Now, if you look very carefully in there, you'll see that there's a variety of insects. There's a piece of grass. It has a little spider in it. Now, I'm going to try and find the spider, but look at all the things that it's eaten. There's very little life out there at the moment. One of them on the right looks like a termite, that orange thing, and if I change the focus, there's like a little midge of some sort you can just see in the top middle of your screen. Isn't that quite beautiful? Look at those wings. But now, you might be able to spot the spider in between all that sort of, well, death, I suppose you could call it. You might be able to see something moving. It's a very small spider. I don't know what it is. It's beautiful, though. Let me see if I can turn it around again. You can see it's just moving over there. It's got beautiful hairs on it, and it's got quite a dark sort of head and dark legs. Let's see if we turn it. I actually didn't even see it with my eyes, to be honest. If I angle it like that, are we going to get a view? It's very difficult. And now the wind. No wind, stop blowing. Oh, there we go. I think we can just going to see it now. Let me just change the focus here. Yes, okay. Now I'm going to work out how to bring it closer to the screen. Oh, it's so difficult to work this microscope. There it is. Ooh, look at it. I wonder if it's not a very small, hairy field spider. They're quite common out here. We see them all over the show, and they're related to orb web spiders, but then its web is slightly different, because what it's actually done, maybe it's not even a hairy field spider, perhaps it's something else. It might be even too difficult to try and identify because there's quite a lot of obstructions. It might be the size of 2 or 3 pinheads put together. That's how tiny it is. Isn't that amazing? And like I said, it's done a different type of a web, so it hasn't built a normal orb round web. It's actually taken the pieces of grass and pulled them together and then used a very fine silk, almost like a netting, and wrapped it around the grass. So that's where it lives. It lives inside the middle of the web, and that web will also help protect it. It will stop anything sort of blowing into it, so it's quite safe in there. And then it's got all its little insects trapped on the outside. I'm going to change the focus a little bit. Oh, that's so amazing. I could honestly stare at this for ages. That is so cool. I really want to try and figure out what spider we have underneath the microscope, but I might have to do a bit more playing around. Maybe if I do some digging outside, I'll be able to find some more spiders for you, hopefully. Well, that's the idea, of course, today. But if there's anything that you'd like to have a chat about, you're welcome to hashtag Safari Live. Let us know, and you can help me keep myself and you all entertained in the tent, because it's very quiet in here, unfortunately. And hopefully the ladies in Final Control can dig up some footage for me of the buffaloes and lions, and we can have a chat about that, because that's definitely been a hot topic over the last few weeks. There's also a car alarm going off. Well, I think this is a good time then to go back to Byron and see if he's had any luck with those leopards.
Unfortunately, not yet, Taylor. We are looking, though. That leopard definitely moved off, as I thought it would have. These young leopards move around a lot during the day, a lot more than we think. And especially today when it was so much cooler. So we're just going to have a careful look around here. I'm going to check this drainage line very carefully, because I think, if anything, maybe he moved up into this area somewhere. It is tricky. And we know, like, even this morning with them trying to track him, they were so close to that leopard, and he didn't even move. So it's not easy to find them if they are lying down, especially when the grass is like this color, and very well camouflaged. We'll have a look around there and see. Maybe we get lucky. I'm sure they are still around here somewhere. I say they. If that's assuming there's 2 leopards in this area. We'll check the termite mounds. Check some of the trees. Maybe we're lucky. Wouldn't it be great to see a leopard in a tree? I haven't seen a leopard up in a tree for quite some time. Hope you're having a great weekend, everybody, or the end to a good weekend. And just a reminder, so there's going to be a time change, and it is from the 1st of August. So from the 1st of August, there is a time change with our sunrise safari. We are going to be half an hour earlier. So half an hour earlier for our sunrise safari. So we are going to be live from 6 o'clock on, so that's 6 o'clock or 6 a.m. Central African time. Sorry, Craig. I feel like Rusty's shocks are no longer in existence. So that's from the 1st of August. We're still trying to work out, and we will let you know if we're going to be changing the sunset safari, the times for the sunset safari, but we will let you know. But from the 1st of August, time change for the sunrise safari so half an hour earlier. Come on, there's got to be a leopard on these termite mounds here somewhere. to check this little pan very carefully. Nice cover, and it's a perfect little spot for leopards to hide, young leopards especially. But I have no idea which direction they would have gone, or he would have gone. You see anything yet, Craig? I can see some Franklin moving through the grass, but no sign of a leopard just yet. Lovely cool afternoon, so this leopard could also potentially be lying out a little bit more in the open, maybe not necessarily well hidden. But you never know. So I'm going to be doing a few loops around here and just see if we can find this leopard. It's times like this I really wish I had my friend Judas that I used to work with. Such a great tracker, a lot of experience, and he just had a sixth sense when it came to finding leopards and tracking leopards. I have no doubt if he was with me now, we probably would have had the leopard already. Oh, James, as you were saying, it would have been nice to see Hosana this afternoon, and hopefully he would be where he was left this morning. That's what I was hoping for, James, but he definitely moved away from there, so I don't know which direction he went. Trying to have a careful look, any signs, any tracks, anything like that, but I do think he's somewhere in that area. I don't think he would have moved too far, but you never know with these young leopards, especially this young male. He's independent now. He's moving around a lot more, but still exploring the area. Not really quite sure what to do. He's still very young. He's only about a year and a half, almost a year and a half old. So still young. Usually, this is the time that females would probably leave their cubs. Is once they get to a year and a half old. That's usually the average age for leopards to reach independence. But in the case of this young male and young female, Hosana and Shongile, their mother left them a lot earlier, at I think they were just over a year old. So that's quite young, but they've done well for themselves. They've survived, which is wonderful. And I mean, we saw this young male this morning. We watched a clip on it too. Ali found him wrestling or playing tug of war with a hyena over a impala carcass. So he's clearly not really afraid of much. There's one impala back there. And sometimes all it takes is just driving very, very slowly and scanning. Stormy Sea, you asked if I can check on the genet for us later. I will indeed, Stormy Sea. I wonder if that genet is still in the tree. It would be lovely to see that little genet again. One of my favorite little nocturnal creatures, definitely the genet. Speaking of nocturnal creatures or animals that are active at night, last night I was lying in bed and heard these footsteps outside and thought it might be Batman heading out on his nightly watch, but it wasn't Batman. It was a hyena that was walking through our camp. Came to see if the dustbin was out. I had to chase the hyena off last night. I'm just trying to check very carefully to see if I can see any tracks around here, but nothing yet. It's interesting, when this leopard was a bit younger, when this young male was younger, and the female would often leave Hosana and Shungila or Karula would leave them, and they would often lie on top of termite mounds. Now leopards enjoy lying on top of termite mounds. It's a little bit more comfortable than just lying in a tree, and also gives them a nice vantage point to have a look around and see where, or if there are any animals around, or it's just a nice little spot to lie. But they haven't done it for, or I haven't seen him lying on a termite mound for quite some time. See, I haven't seen any tracks along the road, so that just makes me think again that this leopard must have gone and walked up the drainage line, possibly. Well, I suppose it could have walked up or down. Omkar is speaking about that hyena raiding the dustbin. He asks, is it safe for the hyenas to eat, or animals to eat from the dustbin? So ideally no. It's not a good idea for them to eat from the dustbins, but the hyenas, scavengers, they eat just about anything. I've seen a hyena chew through a steel kettle those stainless steel kettles, you put them on a fire when you go camping. I've seen a hyena bite through half of that. Incredibly powerful jaws, and they'll eat just about anything, but no, technically not. So that's why we try to put the dustbin in the kitchen during the evening, just to try keep the hyenas at bay. But they don't come in every night. That hyena, I haven't heard or seen a hyena for quite some time, but heard it last night and walked out, and there it was. I really hope I get to find this leopard for you. Just going to take a little drive down here quickly, just to scan this area. I'm not sure if he is down here or not. It's a nice thick area here, so it's perfect for this leopard to hide in. So keep your eyes peeled, everyone. That's why sometimes it's amazing, and it can get a bit frustrating at times. You can drive around and come around a corner and bump into a leopard right in front of you. And then other times you can drive to the spot you last saw the leopard, hoping that it would be there, and there'll be absolutely nothing. And then you can search for hours and not find them. See, I was hoping he would have moved into this area somewhere, just off to our left. And this substrate, or this soil around here, is actually very hard. This is almost like a mud clay or clay-like soil. So it's very, very hard. It wouldn't be easy to see tracks on this actually. Hold on a second, I just want to speak to Rexon. So I'm just listening to update from the other guides quickly. Good afternoon, mobile stations. Byron here. Henry and Rexon, I'm just at Treehouse Dam at the moment, trying to follow up. No sign of that animal just yet. I am checking the area quite carefully. Sounds like maybe one or two people might be interested in coming to have a look around to see if they can see this leopard or find this leopard with us. Alright, well, Taylor's still in the tent. Well, she's going to be there all afternoon, so we're going to have a look around here. Let's head back to Taylor, see what she's got planned for the afternoon.
I haven't exactly got anything yet. I apologize. I'm now sort of look quite short, don't I? I'm not on the chair. I'm just down on the ground. I'm trying to reopen everything that I'd had open. Unfortunately, I had to do a massive reboot just now. I don't know what happened. All my feeds started disappearing. And okay, well, we won't be able to do that now. Then we'll just have to close all of this. Yes, I would really like to talk about lions versus buffalo today at some point, just because it's one of the things that I actually prepped for the tent, going into depth and hopefully looking at some sightings that we had last year with the incredible Nkuhumas, as they were known at one point when we used to see them every single day. Remember, I think it was 100 days of cats. Doesn't that sound familiar? Remember how fantastic that was? And that, of course, was because the buffalo were back and were around, and now we're waiting for them. But we'll get into that hopefully if we can dig up some of the many thousand clips that we do have. What we do have, though, we can have a look at the microscope. I managed to find... No, that's a gate. I heard a high-pitched squeaking noise. This time it's not anyone playing soccer. Sure, let me just turn. Chantal's voice is very loud in my ear today. So have a look at that. It's a little pod. Now, it's from the Monkey Pod Center. You may remember yesterday Byron had that beautiful sighting of the go-away birds and also the crested barbets. They were feeding on the beans. Now, this one is slightly rotten. It looks like something had actually started eating away at it. Now, I'm not exactly sure what it would be, but it definitely must have had quite a strong mandible to pierce through that. It's not big enough for it to be damaged from a bird. It's just a tiny little spot. So I think it was an insect of some sort. But isn't that absolutely beautiful? And look at all the tiny little hairs that are actually on that. Let me see if I change the focus up slightly, what else we can get. No, that's really it. But see, it's completely hollowed. It's completely rotted it out. Now, you can come back to me and we can have an actual look at one. I just broke the rotted part off. It's quite an interesting little pod. They get quite long down over here. Now, there's quite a few center species in the country that are not actually supposed to be here, but we have a couple that are alright. Well, the birds don't seem to mind them because they provide some nice fruit, delicious things. Now, I don't know if you can even eat these. I'm just trying to think. I've never heard of anybody being able to eat them, so we'll have to pop it into the interweb to have a look. Let's see if I can get one out. It looks very much just like a pea. Let's see. Oh, they're quite small, so it's quite difficult to sort of handle. Sorry, I have something now tickling my throat. Look how tiny that is. So that is the entire little bean that you can see. And that is what the go-away birds and the crested barbets are actually going after. You can imagine you need to eat quite a few of those to be able to get any sustenance. I'm sure they've got a decent nutritional value to them, so it'll be quite healthy for the birds and for anything else that's really feeding on them. Now I've got something else we can even put under the microscope. Let me quickly change it. This was quite cool. Should we have another look at the microscope? There we go. Look how cool that is. That also makes for a great screensaver. Yesterday we put up the gall of a silver cluster leaf. Now this is a guari leaf that a caterpillar has got hold of. You can see it's not any fresh damages. It actually happened quite some time ago. You can see how dried out it's the dead parts of the leaf are now. But it's just amazing. And I think, let me change the height of it so we can get a better view. And we should have changed the focus. That is just absolutely amazing. Now, if you look at the size of a caterpillar and the damage that they can do to trees, it's pretty amazing, don't you think? And they do create beautiful sort of patterns. Something what I will do is I'll go outside and see if I can't find a leaf that has been attacked by a leaf miner. Now, they make all sorts of interesting patterns too, but they sort of seem to do it inside the leaf. They don't actually break the outer layer of the leaf at all. So it's almost like they create little see-through parts, tunnels through the leaf itself. So that'll be quite pretty. So I'll have to go and explore and see if I can find any of those. I'm also trying to dig out an antlion so that we can pop it under the microscope and hopefully have a look at the antlion at some point. But I thought that was quite nice. What else have we got here? We've got some bark, which I'm collecting, but I'm not going to talk about the bark of various trees just yet because I'm still trying to make a decent collection. The most common trees that are outside the tent are silver cluster leaves, guaris, and there's some square raisins, and that's really it that's around here. A couple of bush willows. So I might have to do a bit of exploring to go and get some marula bark, maybe some knobthorn bark. I might have to actually walk out onto quarantine to go and grab those things. And hopefully we'll find some. I'll also try and turn over a couple of logs because it is a little bit cooler. We know that the insects aren't necessarily too active. And what I'm hoping to find when... Oh, that's so loud. Hopefully I'll be... Sorry, I just had to turn that down quickly before I pierce my eardrum. And hopefully I'll be able to find a scorpion. Wouldn't that be nice to have a look at a scorpion under the microscope? I think we could be lucky if we peel back some bark and we turn over some big logs. But we're going to go back to Byron. He's searching far and wide for leopards. Surely Hosana couldn't have gone too far. He is a sneaky cat, though. It seems as though he's taking after his father. But let's go back to Byron and Craig.
We are indeed, Taylor. I hope you find some interesting little creatures under the bark and under those logs. We've had no luck just yet, but it's still early, so maybe, just maybe, we get lucky. What was it? When leopards go hiding, why do they do that? I suppose if it was easier, we'd lose the thrill of looking for these animals. Again, it is very tricky, and to drive, try scan and look for tracks is very difficult, and I'm almost certain that we miss a lot of the tracks of these animals. And I've been doing this long enough that even with the tracker on the front of the vehicle at times we miss tracks. And all it takes is for a track just crossing the road. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're walking straight down the road. It could just be one or two tracks crossing the road. And if we don't see that, we're looking completely the wrong place. So it is difficult. It's very difficult. Who knows? They're probably hiding in the drainage line somewhere. What we can also do is maybe drive around a little bit and come back into this area a little later. Maybe we have more luck then. But for now, there's absolutely no sign of that leopard. So I don't know where he would have gone. It's also a little windy this afternoon. There's a bit of a breeze. You can see some of the trees moving in the wind. You know what, let's just do one more loop back and just have a look again. You never know. Often persistence in the bush pays off. I might go check that area, or check Chitwa Dam again this afternoon. We had a lot of luck there yesterday. Those two hippo fighting, that was amazing. Really, really incredible to see. And we had a question yesterday, speaking about the hippo, we had a question from Chitty Chatty Meg asking if the hippo are related to whales. Now, I thought that's very bizarre. What are the chances? But apparently, archaeologists believe that the whales, porpoises, dolphins, and hippo are all related, and that whales are distant cousins of hippos. Now, I find that absolutely bizarre, and I mean, I think if you're going that far back, everything's basically related. Perhaps. But I mean, if you, like millions of years ago, they reckon there was a dinosaur and it weighed about 100 pounds or something, and it was whale-like and hippo-like or something like that. I don't know. That's just, I mean, that's going too far back, I think. I think the animals have evolved in such a way that if you're nitpicking that much to say that they're related, anything can be potentially related. It's basically like saying James and I are distant cousins. Imagine that. I so badly want to see a leopard stick its head out and surprise us. Let's do one more check down here. See, like I say, potentially could have gone anywhere. Oh, Rusty, please don't bend a steering rod today. All now I've had seriously bad luck with Rusty and the steering rods. It's not from bad driving, I promise you that. It's just for some reason it's got a weak steering rod. The support that is meant to be there isn't there. So I'm so careful not to bend another steering rod. Come on, Craig, we need to spot a leopard. funny. It's almost like this temperature doesn't know what to do. The afternoon, it's cool, and then now it's warm again. I think as soon as the sun gets away from those clouds, then it's warm. Lovely termite mound here and some nice trees, a lot of shade. Perfect little spot for a leopard actually. Could always just send Craig in on foot and wait for something to happen. I'll film Craig. Now I see their vehicle tracks over here. Now I'm not sure if that leopard moved and people followed it this way, or if this is just vehicle tracks from them searching for them this morning. I don't know. I see there are tracks here. Now, Riti, you asking about carnivores and what they feed on, and if they eat the bones of the... Ooh, got a fright there. Sorry. I thought they're gonna... Sam Franklin gave me a fright. I thought they're gonna fly straight into the car. See, on edge here, looking for this. Riti, you asked if the carnivores feed on the bone or bones of the predator, of the food that they eat. Riti, you know, a lot of the time they do, but it's mostly those smaller bones, not the big bones, not the really large bones. The hyena probably feed on the largest bones out of all the carnivores because they've got such powerful jaws. So they definitely do feed on just about anything, or as many of the bones as possible. Whereas leopards will feed on maybe the smaller rib bones, some of the other small bones. And you can often hear them crunching away when they are feeding. You hear them crunching on the bones. And it's also, they do get a lot of nutrients, a lot of calcium and phosphorus from that. You're laughing at me, Craig. Craig's laughing because I stole the vehicle. It's a log, Craig. Oh no, Craig's teasing me about. Well, it's the most emotion we've seen from Craig for about 3 days, so that's good. Now we were chatting about the tent and that this morning, and it's and we've had a lot of help from Innocentia filming for us in the tent, while Tayla and I have shared the tent responsibilities. And Tristan sent us a message this morning when he woke up bright and early at about 10 o'clock. He's on leave, so he deserves it. Just saying that the tent seems to be a hit, and it has been fun. Oh dear, you know what, I'm getting myself into a bit of trouble here. It's quite thick around here now. You know what, everyone, I've had no sign of these leopards. I don't know where they've gone, or this one leopard that was here. I'm not sure if there were two. Let's just try to squeeze through here perhaps. Oh, there's a steenbok. Is there any gap through here? Oh dear, I definitely seem to be getting myself deeper in trouble here while looking for these leopards, or leopard. Jan Eric, you asked if leopards eat anything other than just meat. Well, Jan, I suppose if you just meat, yeah, I mean they feed on fish. We know that. We've seen them catching catfish in muddy waters before. I've seen leopards feeding on snakes. I've seen leopards feeding on birds. I've seen leopards feeding on tortoises and terrapins. If you mean do they snack on the odd fruit? No, I've never seen a leopard eat a fruit. Seen them chewing grass, but much like pets, cats and dogs, they'll eat grass if they suffering from indigestion, or helps the digestive system, or will cause them to regurgitate something. So I've seen, the cats do that too, the big cats do that too. But wide variety of food for the leopards. They'll feed on just about anything. Just want to listen to the radio too, see what the other guys are looking for this afternoon. See, there's some other guests out at the moment on this afternoon safari, and they're probably watching us, wondering what we are doing in this area. Would be great if we found the leopard, and at least we had a good reason to come through here, but no sign. Like I say, we don't really know which direction he could have gone. He could have gone north, could have gone south. Alright, well, I think what we might do is move out of this area. We'll probably try come back a little bit later, maybe when it gets cooler. If the leopard's still in the area, it'll stick its head out and maybe move around for us, or come down to drink. So let's head back to Tayla in the tent while I get out of this area.
Well, hello everybody. I've been running around outside trying to find things to talk about. I don't have a fossicker-in-chief. I am the fossicker-in-chief, I suppose. I suppose James dubbed me with that. And, well, now I'm doing all the jobs. Right, so I've been looking outside. Let me just pick up some of the stuff that I was looking for. I've got to scoop it back in my hand now. It goes once, that's what I'm looking for. And if you look at just in the palm of my hand, you'll see that there's some very, very small bits of dung. Isn't that tiny? Look how small they are. So I have a question for you. Can you guess whose dung that is? Who dung it? Hashtag Safari Live with your guesses, and then we shall go into it. You've got to be quick though. This should be an easy one. Very, very easy one. Okay, let me put it down. Now, there's something else that I want to have a look at. What else have we got? So I'm actually going to take that dung away, because we'll get back to that in a moment. Look at this. Now, this is a type of bracket fungi, as you can see. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be doing too well. It's also winter, so it's not absorbing a lot of nutrients, unfortunately, from its host. But this one is known as orange tuft, and I've actually found it around here before. It likes to grow on the knob thorns. Should we put it under the microscope and have a look? Let me see what it actually looks like. Oh, that's pretty cool. Look at that. Now you can actually see the hairs. Now, we've looked at it before when it was a lot softer than this and a lot more pliable too. Oh my goodness, all my dung is rolling around. The wind is blowing it everywhere. And it's actually quite toxic, this stuff. I believe that it can be used to enter a trance-like state. I suppose if you're trying to contact your ancestors, it would be a good spot to try, or good stuff to try and use it. However, I'm not going to be eating much of it, but it's very, very pretty. Now, see if I can find some other type of fungi that's out and about. There is, or there used to be at one point quite a bit of it, but I don't know where it's all disappeared. I've forgotten about the things around the tent, and I also tried to turn over quite a few logs, but unfortunately, no luck there. So, any guesses just yet as to who done it? Surely there must be. Do you think you could read them to me, please, Chantal? That's a bit difficult to grow over to the document. So say that again. Karen says squirrel. That's a good guess. Very, very good guess. But unfortunately, no cigar. It is not from a squirrel. Ooh. Now, Phil and Jenny Animation, you say a bird. Nope. It's not from a bird, but good guesses though. Remember, if it was from a bird, you would actually see quite a bit of white from the uric acid, but you can see that this lacks any white at all, and it's very small. Any more guesses? Another good guess. Kestrel fox, you say scrub hare. It isn't. But you've just given me something else to go and look for, Kestrel fox. That's what I'm going to go and find. Oh, another great guess from Wellafand. You say mongoose. Not quite mongoose, but mongoose is similar shape though. But mongoose, can you believe it, is actually slightly bigger than this? Well, I think there might be one or two right answers, but we'll just go ahead and I'll just tell you what it is. This is actually Deka dung. Can you believe it? All of this stuff here. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, the reason why it's not steenbok dung is because it wasn't buried. Typically, steenbok will bury their dung and then you'll have to sift it out from the sand. So this is from the Deka. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to perhaps chat about some of the smaller antelope that normally hide away in the long grass. But now that all the grass is, of course, dropping down to, well, below knee height, we're starting to see them, and I've been seeing lots and lots and lots of Deka, lots of steenbok out and about, coming down to drink from the watering holes now. And you remember, because all the little pans, pretty much most of them have actually dried up now. Like I said, Chele pan's completely dry, it's just mud. They're coming down to the dams that are full, which is exciting. I know it sounds absolutely silly, but you don't often get to see those small antelope out in the open. They feel very vulnerable, and this is also the time of the year where, unfortunately, Deka and steenbok feature on the menus of the animals that Byron's looking for. So leopards love to catch Deka and steenbok, and you can imagine for someone, or for leopards like Shongile and Hosana, and even Tamba to an extent, they'd probably be a little bit on the easier side to try and catch those antelope. My goodness, I'm feeling slightly parched. I'm going to have something to drink. I'm going to have some water to quench my thirst now. And it sounds like it feels like I've got a frog or something stuck in my throat. But without further ado, can you believe it? Byron has magically pulled a leopard out of his sleeve.
Yeah, we found him, everyone. We found him. He did move down the opposite direction. There he goes. There he goes. We'll get a view of him. He looked as if he was stalking something. There he goes. He's just moving through the bush at the moment. As I said, the temperature cooling down. Chances of finding him are a bit better. And there he is, right here next to us. I'm not sure what he saw. It may have been a little Deka or a steenbok. There he is.
Unfollow my audio.
Just going to move a little bit. No, it's fine. We'll sit tight here. We'll sit tight. Oh, well, this has made my afternoon. thankfully. It was Craig that spotted him too. Saw his head sticking out in front of us. We came back down the same road. Again, you see, the persistence, driving around a few more times just paid off. And luckily we got to find him. And just in time, because now he's moving even further away from the dam. Just going to move off the road slightly. There's a car behind us. So I just want to give them a view of this leopard too. We'll wait for him. He might decide to come out into the road. Let's just wait and see. There we go. There he is. He's approaching the road now. Isn't that a nice surprise? You see, once we found him, then he decides to walk out in the road. But before that, he was hiding in a thicket. Oh, that lovely view. Oh, what a nice surprise. Wasn't that great? So we'll try and follow him for a little while and see where he goes. You see, it appears as if he's, I don't know if he's hunting necessarily, but leopards are always very opportunistic. So they'll have a look around, and if they flush anything, as we did while we were driving through that drainage line, we flushed a little steenbok. So this leopard would be looking for something like that, a steenbok or a duiker, possibly impala if he does see any. We'll just try and move again. Paul, you say this is your favorite big cat. Oh, where did your favorite big cat go, Paul? Can you see him there? Oh, there he is, yeah. It's amazing how they can sometimes disappear and move around quite quickly. I once was following a leopard, and it was a female. She was walking down the road, and we thought we'll drive around and just wait for her basically on the corner and try to get a nice view of her walking down the road. And we'd lost a view of her for a split second, and she disappeared. We couldn't find her again. She disappeared into the long grass. It was incredible. Really amazing to see. I guess that's why these animals are so elusive. But when you do see them, it is really such a lovely surprise. Can hear some rattling testiculars, alarm calling at the leopard while he's walking. Now we might see what they often do. I can still see him there, just moving through there. What they often do is when these birds alarm call at them, the leopards occasionally lift their tails up. Now he's not quite doing it at the moment. The reason for that is there's a very clear white marking under the tail. So when these birds alarm call at the leopards when they're walking through the bush, they lift the tail up to make themselves more visible. And the reason for that, well, the theory behind it is that they're showing that they're not a threat, they're no danger, they're just passing through. So they're lifting their tails up, making themselves more visible to hopefully stop those birds from alarm calling at them. Because what happens is then they draw a lot of attention to them, which they don't want. But it is interesting. You'll often see it with leopards walking, and they lift their tails immediately. There he comes. Not sure if he's seen anything again. Tam, you say leopards are so mysterious. Yes, mysterious, elusive. They really are wonderful, wonderful animals. And you see how he's constantly scanning and checking the area. Jesse, you asked, have I ever been frightened by a leopard? I told a story the other day, actually. We were tracking a big male leopard down in the south on Londolozi. And this leopard, we walked around the car for about 5 minutes. We couldn't see where the tracks went. And as we took 2 steps off the road, he basically burst out of the bushes in front of us. He was lying there the whole time hiding. And as soon as we took steps towards him, he then gave a growl. But he didn't actually charge us. He just ran out and around to the back of the bush again. But we got both myself and my tracker that I worked with, Judas, my friend. Him and I both got a fright. The guests laughed at us. They thought it was quite funny. So I've got 1 or 2 frights from leopards before. I'll just see where he's going. It would be wonderful if we saw some impala up ahead, or any small antelope. Could be quite interesting. But again, just look how well he blends in. As soon as he starts walking behind these trees, now you can see him quite nicely with because of Craig's great camera work. But for us, sitting here, it's actually quite difficult. Once he goes through that long grass, he disappears. Oh, did you see something there? Did you see him just run? He just had a little dart at something, but he stopped again. It could also be a little mongoose. Oh, what's he seen? What's he seen? Hold on, I don't want to lose him. Craig, I'm going to try to squeeze through here quickly. There he goes, still got him straight ahead. I'm just going to park here. Let's just see. He's straight ahead of us, but let's just see and scan if he has spotted something up ahead. The way he darted off, he like I say, it could have been mongoose, it could have been Franklin's, although the Franklins probably would have made a noise. Bobby, interesting question. You asked if the leopard's fur is smooth or coarse. Now, Bobby, I've never felt a leopard's fur, but I believe that the leopard's fur is actually very soft, very smooth, very soft. Now, the other big cats, lion and cheetah, are very coarse. Their hair is very coarse. I felt cheetah before. And I'm just going to stop here again. So I'm giving him a bit of space. I don't want to disturb him too much. So we're quite far from him now, but he's still just ahead of us. Also, I'm driving off road so that I don't lose view of him. I'm just checking out in front of him to see if there is anything. But look how well he disappears in that grass. Look at that! Isn't that camouflage incredible? So Bobby, so I believe that the leopard's fur is quite soft. He's probably going to come out on that road again, and maybe that's why I stopped to look around, just to see if he does expose himself out into the open, that nothing is there to potentially see him. Well, while we wait for Hosana to expose himself, let's go to James, and hopefully he doesn't expose himself, but he's in the Mara. Let's see what my old friend James Henry is up to.
Mara, you can see the pinkening of the sky there. You can see the golden bellies of some very fat lions indeed. And, well, shortly we'll show you some vultures. My name is James Henry, and it's very nice to be back out in the field with you. Hello, Fergus.
Hello.
Fergus is on camera. He is, and we're going to be out here probably, well, certainly into the darkness. I don't know exactly how many segments we're going to do from here, but our plan is to basically find three things. This is the sort of general directive. The one is lions, the second is wildebeest, and the third is signal. With those three things, we're fairly guaranteed, we hope, of some action. Well, we've got lions, there they are. And then well beyond them by about, say, 300 meters, you can perhaps see a line of what probably look like little black ants. Those are the wildebeest, but I'm not sure that we have a great deal of signal where those wildebeest are, so I'm not sure. And zebra, look at that. But you can see that the migration herds have now come up well north of where they have been before this year. There are many to the north of us, and even with our very favoured Agama pride, they are now starting to come into their territory. We saw a small group there, and if this bunch don't look like they're going to get up and do anything, which I'm seriously doubting they will, because they've certainly killed the wildebeest just down the road and then left it, I think that we will probably head back to the Agama Pride territory as darkness falls and see what happens over there. Remember, you can talk to us, hashtag Safari Live. We're just as live as Taylor in the tent and Byron in the bush. You see how I did that there, Fergus? Very nice. And you can ask us anything you like, send us any questions or comments. We've had a very pleasant weekend here. We obviously did our TV show on Saturday morning, and then this morning I came out here, found these lions, and well, they don't seem to have moved more than 3 inches. They very nearly killed a zebra this morning. A young foal that had been separated from the herd somehow pretty much walked up to almost about 30 feet beyond the second tree trunk that you can see there, and these lions could not have been more than 40 feet from it, and they just sort of carelessly had a bit of a run, but they didn't make any real attempt at cunning or stalking or anything else like that, and so unsurprisingly they missed. They were unsuccessful, and they've just had to digest the 5 or 6 meals they probably ate last night. So it is boom time here up in the Northern Triangle. The weather today was, well, looks like a storm coming in over the Olololo escarpment, which is a little bit disturbing given the amount of time that we're going to be out here. And Ubombo girl, you say that they are fat, flat cats. They could not be better described. They are certainly fat, they are certainly flat, and, well, yes, they're certainly cats, aren't they? So what I think we'll do from here is probably just reverse and try and get down into that migration herd. See if we have signal there. I don't think we're going to, and if we don't, then we'll come back here, see what they're going to do, and if they don't do anything in the next half an hour or so, we'll head back towards the Agama Pride. Just in the distance I can hear the bow, 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 bow. Beautiful, beautiful vultures and storks all over the place here. Such a good time for them, of course. And I believe that Byron is having a lovely time out in the bush. He's always wanted to be known by the moniker Little Chief, and so that is why he is following the Little Chief.
We are indeed, James, and great to have you with us from the Mara. Hope you're having a lovely day up there. And Hosana has now gone and he's laid down a little bit, but again, just look at that camouflage. I mean, look how well he blends in with that grass. I honestly think if you were just scanning through here, you wouldn't see him at all with the naked eye. And look at that, very difficult to spot. This is such a nice treat, and especially because he's moving around. Now this morning he lay down, and those of you who were watching this morning sunrise safari, he was on his back and almost fast asleep, resting, paws up in the air. At one stage he was resting his paw on the log that he was lying next to. Such a lovely afternoon. So I said, it's still a cool temperature, there's a bit of a breeze, you can hear some birds calling in the distance, there's a few Cape turtle doves, but the leaves are rustling at the moment, the dry leaves are rustling in the wind. Sinak, you asked if I've ever seen leopards. I'm just listening. Hold on a second. These birds are going wild. I wonder if it's because rattling testiculars, all alarm calling, a huge group of them. I wonder if it's because of the leopard lying down there. I think so. So Sinak, you asked if I've ever seen a leopard lying in the long grass and jumping out and attacking its prey or ambushing its prey. I have seen leopards hunt and stalk and kill before. Not often, but I have indeed seen it. Yeah, listen to those testiculars calling. Listen to that. Can you hear them? Oh, they're straight behind him in that tree, in that little bush. So just up to the left. There we go. There they're all sitting. Look at that. Rattling testiculars. Down a little bit, Craig. There we go. Just there we go. They're all at the bottom of that branch or those trees. There you go. Now the rattling testicular has been called the black mamba of the bird world. And the reason for that is the inside of the rattling testicular's mouth is pitch black, and you might be able to see it a little bit with that one chirping at the bottom left. There we go. Do you see that bright black mouth inside? And I have heard of them being referred to as the black mamba because of that. The black mamba snake obviously has that pitch black. Oh, there's a shagra. Shagra just joined. Looks like a brown crowned shagra. Like one with the white brow over there. So it's come to investigate. Why are these birds alarm calling? It's wanted to have a look. That's one of my favorite little birds, those shagras. But those rattling testiculars do not give up. Tenacious little birds, constantly alarm calling if there's any sign of a predator. There's a few of them there. So as I was saying, that black mamba has that pitch black mouth. That's where it gets its name from, not because of the color. The snake itself is actually grey in color, but it's that pitch black mouth when it opens its mouth if it feels threatened. And the same with that rattling testicular. Sinak, you asked what other species of testicular do we have in this area. I'm just trying to think. The red-faced testicular, if I'm not mistaken, I think they I think they're on the edges of little rivers and that's a red-faced testicular. We have zitting testicular we get in this area too. What else do we get? Let me just have a look here quickly. So we've got the rattling, the zitting testicular. I'm trying to think that don't we get the lazy cisticola also occurs in this area. I haven't seen one of those. Those are the only ones that I can think of. Rattling, red-faced, lazy, and the zitting cisticola. I don't think we get wing snapping cisticola. I've never seen one of those though, but it says they occur in the area. The whaling cisticola. I'm trying to think of the whaling. Yeah, the whaling occurs in this area a little bit too. Never seen that. Let's check the tinkling. So the tinkling cisticola we don't get here. There are a number of cisticolas. There's in Southern Africa we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 cisticolas that we have in this area, in Southern Africa, but quite a few species that we see. Some I haven't seen yet. Alright, well, I'm going to see, maybe I'm going to try reposition. Let's head back to Tayla in the tent, and she wants to talk about lions, apparently.
I did, but look who I found walking around outside. It's Herbie. Remember Herbie? I feel like you guys haven't seen him for such a long time now, but it's great to have you back. Welcome. How was your holiday?
Yeah, it was good.
Was it good? Yeah. What did you get up to, Herbie?
To improve my trekking skills.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you do an assessment?
Yes, I did.
What level did you manage to get?
Level 3.
Oh, he says that so casually. Let me just quickly explain to you exactly about the tracking assessment. So we do these track and sign assessments, obviously to constantly keep improving ourselves. Now you get level 1, which is, I can't remember the percentage now, but it's the basic level. Then you get level 2, pretty competent tracker. Level 3, you're unbelievable. And then if you get 100%, you normally get invited to a special event and have the opportunity to meet some of the master trackers in the country. So well done, level 3. That's very impressive, don't you think? I'm so proud of you. You didn't tell me. This is the first time I'm hearing about it too. So that's fantastic. So now, as you all know, Herbie has always got tricks up his sleeve. I miss going on bushwalks, but we're hopefully going to be doing the bushwalks too. What is on the ground? Look what's on the floor.
Hashtag safari.
Oh my gosh. That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Hashtag, please can we have to have it up? Hashtag, and then we're missing the safari part. Maybe the khaki will be the safari. And then the live. Isn't that honestly just one of the most amazing things you've ever seen? Oh, that is the greatest thing. Herbie? You want it this way? Oh, yeah. Okay. Where they were saying it was the other way around. Let's try again. Maybe we can try, someone can add safari in there. Yes, there we go. Why don't you take some screenshots and you can help us out. You can use in your most creative font. You can add the safari. I've even left a gap for you. And that would be great. And you can hashtag actual Safari Live on Twitter so we can all see it. I think I need a new profile picture. This would be fantastic. Herbie, how long did it take you to make this? This is great. That's good. I'm going to put this in my room. Can I have it? Please.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just taking it. I'm going to keep this for the rest of my life. You know that. I'm going to put it up on my wall in my bedroom. That is fantastic. Now, so yeah, how long did it take you to make that?
I'll say almost the whole day.
Almost the whole day. Well, that's very, very fantastic of you, Herbie, for doing that. I'm so impressed. I could never do anything like that. I'm absolutely hopeless. So, Herbie, I have a question for you. What are you most excited about seeing when we go on our bushwalks?
Leopards.
Leopards. You excited to track them?
Yes.
And well,
those are my favorites.
Your favorites.
Yes.
What about finding lions? Because we've had a problem with trying to find the lions. They're too quick for us. Every time we think we're on the target and we're on the tracks just a few steps behind, we never get them. We need you.
Yeah, I also like trekking or finding lions, but at the very same time, with our trekking chances being restricted here because of these lions crossing to our neighboring property, We are just playing a dirty game, I'll put it that way. So.
See, even Herbie agrees. They are so sneaky at the moment. But why do you think it is that the lions are not staying on the property anymore?
I know for sure that our lions here are buffalo specialists, and at the moment we are struggling in finding buffaloes in the property. So there will be more in the areas that we know. Buffaloes are always in those particular areas, which is, like for now, it's to our south and also to our north.
Fair enough. That's exactly it. So what I want to do now is, I said to you earlier that we were going to get some clips put together to have a look at what the Lions were doing last year. And as Herbie said, the Ngahuma Pride are lion specialists. So Chantal, if it's possible, can we play clip number 2 and have a look and see what those lions actually got up to?
Look at this amazing action that we've just come across. The lions have managed to catch a buffalo that they chased going through the thicket. Now it's a young calf. Come on, lions, you can take this down. Isn't this amazing? Come on, it's a little calf. The rest of the herd of buffalo have raced away. Unfortunately, I think this is the end. Look at this. I think, unfortunately, that this is indeed the end for this buffalo calf. You can see the male now going in, grabbing it by the throat. It needs to keep the calf quiet, otherwise the herd of buffalo are going to come back and try and chase these lions off. Well done, lions. Well done. Oh, you can see he is not letting anybody go to that carcass, which is going to be a bit of a problem because the females may gang up on him in order to get a good feed. The buffalo actually tried to get up again. I can't believe it, that it managed to gain that strength, perhaps with all the adrenaline that's also rushing through its body. And then, of course, everybody came through again, and the males grabbed straight hold of the throat to try and close that jugular. Now, the lions haven't seemed to be doing too much more damage to this buffalo just yet, but we've got another lioness who's joined in and is starting to... Wasn't that unbelievable? Now, that, in my opinion, was the best lion versus buffalo sighting I've ever had. And I've been very privileged to have some of those sightings. Actually, my best ones have actually been here while I've been at Wild Earth. I've been very, very lucky. How amazing was that, hey, Herbie?
Yeah, that was cool.
Really good. And again, that's what Herbie said. The lions here are buffalo specialists. So that's what they did pretty much every single day last year. As soon as I started working here, we would go out, we would try and remember where we saw the buffalo from the day before, and we were almost guaranteed, not quite 100% guaranteed, but we'd go in and we'd find these lions, and they either were taking down a buffalo when we got there, or they were stalking, or they were already feeding on it. And that's sort of not the only clip. There's so many of them there, but unfortunately, until those buffalo come back, and if they're just following the range, just as the animals in Kenya are doing, going to the best areas where the best grazing is, that's where the buffalo are at the moment. And unfortunately, because of the late rains, they haven't quite returned yet. Whether they will return before the next rains, I'm not so sure. I really hope that they do, because I'd quite like to see our pride of lions again. I'd like to see how they grow, especially now with those 6 very healthy cubs. That's going to be quite interesting, because they're getting to the age now where they should start hunting, aren't they, Herbie?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we also had another sighting. I'll just quickly mention this one. It was really amazing, where I was fortunate. It was on Halloween last year. You should remember that drive where I painted different faces, different animals on my face with eyeliner. It was quite interesting. And we got to experience the young Ngahuma cubs. They were only about, I think it was like 5, 6, and 7 months old, the 3 different litters. And they actually took down a young calf of that size. Obviously, that was the lionesses that first took it down. That actually killed the mother earlier that morning, and the calf was hanging around the dam, so they took that opportunity and also took it down. And then the lionesses sat back once they'd weakened the calf enough, and the little ones went in and they jumped on their backs. They were practicing sort of all these maneuvers that they see the adults doing. And for lions at such a young age, to me, it just goes, wow. How is that going to affect their experience in hunting buffalo in the future? And that's why I can't wait to get back and start following them and watching these little ones really learn, because now Their jaws are powerful. They're still small, but they could definitely do some damage and actually participate once the buffalo is down on the ground on increasing the blood flow. You've seen how lions also bite on the spine to try and make the animal weaker, to let it bleed out. They'll definitely be able to contribute. So, Herbie, have you got a favorite lion versus buffalo sighting that you've had since you've been working for Wild Earth?
Yes, that was to the east of Leopard Dam. The very same pride in Kumas were following a big herd of buffaloes. One of the lionesses went for the fully grown bull, but she went on top of him. But the rest of the buffaloes, they came back to help the attacked one. So eventually, they managed to chase off the lioness.
Wow, so it wasn't a case of lions having their next meal, but the tables turned and the buffalo managed to chase the lions away. Now, in that clip that you watched just a moment ago, a similar thing actually happened. The whole herd came running back in to try and rescue, of course, the young calf, but unfortunately they just weren't quick enough, and the lionesses stood their ground and charged back and ended up sending the buffalo running with their tails between their legs, and sadly one less member. But there's many other cats on screen, as you know. Byron's with Hosana. Let's go and see what the three of them are up to.
Well, for the moment, Hosana is resting. That's what he's up to. And luckily, because it is cool, he's lying out in the open, even though it's in the long grass. But he is out in the open. I can see that beautiful golden light on him now. Jennifer, you asked, is Hosana the average size for his age? Yeah, that's, I suppose that is average size for a male leopard that age. Slightly bigger than a female. Well, I say slightly bigger than a female, slightly bigger than a full-grown female. Males get much bigger. They get about twice the size of a female leopard. So yeah, he is, I would say, his average size. Roshni, you asked when will young leopards leave their homeland to find their own territory. So Roshni, I suppose you mean the area that their mothers raised them in. So generally with young leopards, so what happens is, firstly, females can give birth to anywhere between 1 and 3 cubs with leopards. And with the female, what happens is, if she has a female cub, for example, she will give up a portion of her territory for that young female, and that female will then have to extend that territory at some point by herself. With the young males, they generally get pushed out by either the female or the males in the area, or the dominant male in the area. He'll get pushed out and he will be nomadic until he gets to the age of about 4-5 years old. Then he'll probably start trying to set up a territory for himself. But Roshni, you must remember that the leopards become independent at about 1.5 years, so it's still quite some time before they actually become dominant and set up a territory for themselves. With the females, might be a bit younger. I've seen females at the age of 3 mating and giving birth to cubs, 3 to 4 years old, and then with the males, it's generally a bit older, so about 4 or 5 years old before they start setting up territory for themselves. I've seen a 4-year-old going on 5-year-old leopard challenge a big male leopard for territory, and he came off second best. He didn't. He was quite a. I suppose you could say he was a fighter. He went and looked for trouble all the time, and did get into a lot of altercations with bigger dominant leopards, trying to challenge for their territory. This was down in the south, but from about 4 years old, he was looking to set up territory for himself. But I think young Hosana probably going to hang around for a little while longer before he decides that he needs to try set up a territory. He'll be fine for now, but when he does start scent marking or trying to become territorial, I'm assuming his father, Tingana, won't tolerate that and will probably push him out then at that age. But at this age, he will still be tolerated because he is a young leopard and he's no threat. Reti leopards are just solitary animals. They move around by themselves. The only time you'll see leopards together is if it's a mating pair of leopards, so a male and female, or otherwise if a female has got cubs and she's looking after those cubs. Generally they are solitary, and it's just the niche that they fill in nature as a predator. So you don't have groups of leopards, or a group of leopard is known as a leap of leopards, but you don't find them in groups. Only a male and female if they're mating, otherwise young cubs with the mother. I've seen leopards interacting, more than one leopard interacting. I've seen males, a male mating with two females at the same time. And I've seen two males trying to mate with one female. Now that is unusual, very unusual, but it can happen. Alright, well, let's head back to tenting Tayla and see what tantalizing tidbits she has for us in the tent.
Now, I was going to say that James was the king earlier of alliteration. Scrap that. Byron is now the king of alliteration. That was fantastic. I remember I made an attempt once where I was trying to say saucy safari and I don't know, and it was just an absolute disaster. So 2 thumbs up for you, Byron. Right, now seeing as though we've been talking about the drought and lions and where are they, when will they come back, that type of thing, maybe we should focus on the prey, being the buffalo. Hang on. In a sense, just lost her headphones. I'm just hooking them back on. I saw that and I thought if it was me, luckily it wasn't me that had headphones, because I would have dragged monitors and the skulls would have fallen down, then the whole tent would have collapsed. I just create that much drama. Now I've placed this buffalo on the table over here, and one thing that's very typical with buffalo skulls out in the bush is that it's hard to find a completely intact skull. You always notice that unfortunately the nose ends up getting sort of, well, for lack of better words, chewed off. I apologize. I cannot sort of muster up the strength to come up with anything better than that. And that is purely because when the lions have attacked their prey, they've now pushed the buffalo down to the ground. One lion will always go to the snout and try and suffocate it like that. So if my hands are, well, the jaw of a lion, we don't have the lion skull anymore, I'm afraid, otherwise I would have used the skulls and demonstrated with them, and it will bite over like this, closing down all the skin onto the nasal cavity and pressing those nostrils flat, and then also clamping the jaw shut in the same breath so that it can't open its mouth and breathe. It's a very slow process. The other thing is that they will go for the throat too, and they will try and crush the windpipe. That's another technique. That normally they do a combination of things. It's not always just one way. They'll have some lines on the back, like I was describing earlier. They will be biting on the spine, trying to get the blood to flow, get it to weaken the buffalo. But it's really amazing. Now have a look at this one. Completely gone. I reckon what's happened here as well, I don't think it was just lions that were feeding on this buffalo. I think the hyenas came in afterwards and had a go at it too. And as you know, hyenas have got very, very powerful jaws, very strong teeth, and are one of the few animals that are able to digest large shards of bone due to their amazing digestive system and all the sort of bacteria and things. It's incredible, and I think that they were biting away at it. Now, there are also lots of things living in here. There's daddy long legs. I'm just trying to see if I can maybe find any other spiders in here. No, it seems as though the daddy long legs are the ones that are living in this buffalo too. Right, we can put this one back down on the ground. My goodness, I've done so much reading, not quite, just collecting so many skulls, and well, I need to put them back, because if James does a surprise visit, I'm going to be in so much trouble. Can you imagine? He'll come in here with a stick, probably something like a knob-forward stick, and start beating away and all this type of thing. So I better make sure that I keep it clean and tidy, otherwise I'm going to find myself in a lot of trouble. Anyways, speaking about James, it's great to have him on the show today. We're definitely missing him around here. No, never mind. We will go to him at some point. It seems as though we've lost communication with Kenya, so that's all right. It's okay, James. We'll get back to you just now then, but it'll be nice to go back to him eventually and have a look. Right, what else have we got here? Should we? No, we'll leave this here for a moment. I will at some point go outside as well and start collecting some more items. And there is another lion clip that I want you to watch, which we'll also chat about a little bit later. But it seems as though James is ready. Earpieces in. He's hearing Final Control all the way in the Sabi sand. So let's go to him.
Thinking. Hello everybody. Sorry, we just got a few issues with our communications, but I think we are live. Good. We got in amongst the herd, not around where those lions were. We gave up on them. They're too fat and flat. And so we got in amongst this herd that is all around us now, and we're hoping that we might find some lions. We've now got the other two things that we need, signal and wildebeest. Now we need signal, wildebeest and predators, and then we will have the trifecta. Anyway, I'll ask Ferg to sort of pan around and show you what's going on here. There we go. You can see lots of wildebeest all over the place, vultures by the dozen. And they're still flying around even at this time of the day when it's pretty chilly. Not very warm at all anymore. And yet they are still flying around, and I think that they follow these herds because A, they know that stuff is going to get killed. They also know that a lot of these animals drop dead of their own sort of, well, not of their own volition, but certainly by causes other than crocodiles and vicious lions and cheetah and that sort of thing. And so they pick up the scraps as they go, and I think that for the vultures this is a real boom time. They seem to be using that term quite a lot this afternoon. Well, certainly twice anyway. So the other thing that I'm listening to here, or listening for, as you look at a marabou stork and another vulture, is whether or not we can hear any wildebeest alarm calling or see any that are showing signs of some sort of distress. The ones around here, of course, are, well, pretty much relaxed, because you cannot track here, of course. You can't get out of the car. The grass is so thick that you can't see where lions walked, and so you really have to kind of use various other methods of lion detection. And one of those, of course, as we use it everywhere, is the alarm calling of animals. And you can hear them doing their gnu-gnus. Hello Riti, you want to know how many prides of lions there are in the Mara? We don't know, Riti. It's enormous. It's 1,510 square kilometers. That's some 150,000 hectares. I'll go through the prides that we know of. We know of the Olololo pride, we know the Agama pride, we know the Mugoro pride, we know the Paradise Plains pride, we know the Serena North pride, which could indeed be the same thing as the Paradise Plains pride. We have got the Egyptian goose pride, the sausage pride, the border pride, and that's just on the Mara Triangle, which is 1/3 of the Masai Mara. Over the other side of the river, we've met the Salas pride, we've met the Black Rock pride, we've met the Runkai pride, we have met the who else have we met? I feel like there are one or two more that we have met. Anyway, you can tell from what I've said there that there are a great deal of lion or a great number of lion prides in this area, and I think you're going to find that as this migration moves towards the north, the boundaries between those pride territories are going to become more blurred, and I think also you'll have quite a lot in the way of nomadic animals coming into and out of this area, sort of sneaking a meal here and there. So nomadic males who don't yet have territories and that sort of thing. Righty, shall we try and drive a little bit? Let's see if we can maintain signal, and we'll try and drive along a little bit. Ooh, Walcha.